111 222 333.
Oh, right, right. I was born at 11:11 p.m.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Mhm. Yeah. They say I'm a wish waiting to happen.
You're what?
A wish waiting to make a wish
Ooh,
waiting to
okay.
happen.
All
So
right. All right.
I tend to agree.
111 222 333.
Oh, right, right. I was born at 11:11 p.m. Thanks for joining, Ben, for a bit. I know I thought you were at your mom's, so I guess you made a special arrangement.
Yeah, no, I came back here yesterday, so yeah.
Great. Well, thanks.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Cool.
Yeah, I think and if you can't see a self view, so if anytime you can't see us, just let me know,
How
Josh.
about now?
Do what? No, I can see you.
Okay.
I was
I get what you're saying. I get it.
um but yeah, just where are things in terms of the clips and what you're needing from Ben, or is there anything left to send? Or
No, the clips are all done. What Ben and I need to work on together are and I kind of want to go over some ground rules with Ben, and Ben's time. So, I've been copying you on like communication with Ben.
okay.
And I'll do that so you're in the know. But I guess Ben, we need to get on like a schedule or rhythm, of when you're going to be available, when we can turn these around. We just need to turn the first one around. So you have the clips.
Mhm.
We need to figure out what makes sense as far as like logistics on it. Like, am I doing it? Like, I'm happy that they're going into the Dropbox folder. You have access to the folder. The voice memos are there, but we need to figure out like, okay, like how is that all meshing together? So, like, for example, when I did the last video, I was in the room. So, my buddy was doing the video work and he was basically recording me um, through a note, I believe, or voice memo, but I was like in the room. So we could like manage it. Like we can say, all right, this goes with this goes with that. So I'm wondering the best way to do it, like a full story, long cut, or like little explanations on each scene.
Well, if you already sent me the voice memos, my understanding was that I was going to splice all the clips together, then listen to the entire voice memo, and then splice that up to match it up with what's happening on the video.
Right. So you're good with that. So short clips of describing the scene tied to the video.
Right. Yeah.
So not a full story, like, and you figure out what goes
Yeah.
where.
No, I mean, ultimately it's up to you. So whichever one you prefer, I'm cool with doing.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is what's easier, like what makes more sense.
Um, I think speaking from my perspective, short clips are gonna hold attention span longer than a long video. So I think that would be better.
Right. But I guess what I'm asking, maybe I'm not being clear about it, is for your production, what
Mhm.
is better, a long clip that you can spice up, or like, here's the video, this is what it's about, and then we'll move to the next video, and this is what it's about, and you put them together. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I think
Okay.
I'm gonna go with option two there.
Okay. So do you have the voice stuff? Because I thought I sent that.
Yeah, I've got everything in Dropbox.
All right, cool. Well, what we need to do now is get a video together, see how it looks. You and I can work together on like any kind of effects or anything like that, and then we'll go from there, and then we can I'll take a look at it, make sure it works for me, and then we'll do them, you know, hopefully weekly, or I can get more involved in it, and like we just need to knock out the first one and
Yeah.
see where we are. So what's your turn time for these? Like with all your work and school and all that stuff.
Um, I could try and knock one out tomorrow, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like
So,
after tomorrow, like what I want to make sure that I have
is that like reasonable though? given that you're moving back in
Moving
today?
back in today, but
You don't have plans with friends?
tomorrow, no.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I can get one
So
out tomorrow.
so you'll work on it tomorrow. He'll get something, let's say by Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally good. So, like in general, what I'd like to know, and I know you're going to do a great job on this, but like when I send clips and voice stuff, what do you think your turn time can be on that?
I guess it kind of depends on like how many clips there are and how much content is in the clips, because
Sure.
very least I want to watch all of them first and listen to all of them so I can determine like the best way to edit them and how I want it to play out. So if I'm working on something one day, I think I can get it back to you like as a rough draft, at least like, or no, at most a day later.
Okay.
Well, and then are you talking about the end product being how long? Less than a minute? Are we talking about
30, 35 seconds.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. At most a day later then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So basically, so it's on me to get the content and throw the voice to get the video content, then get the voice content. I'll match it up. Like, okay, here's scene one, and this is the audio that goes with it. And then once I do that, why don't we say like, why don't we say like 2 or 3 days?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's say 2 days. If you say in one day, let's say two to give yourself some, you know,
Flexibility. Yeah.
stuff
Well, yeah,
happens, man.
and then just to make sure, like, after the first one gets done, and I told this to Josh, that like there wasn't any pressure, like Josh has, free reign to say like this works for me, this doesn't work for me. This is kind of just like an experiment to see how you like it, how he likes it. So it's not
Yeah.
like all this,
Yeah,
so
exactly. We're gonna do the first.
yeah, fun, creativity, those types of things
Yeah,
are
we'll do the first one and see how it goes. And if I have some like, feedback, we'll do a second one and this and that. But you have to tell me too, like, all right, I'm into this. I want to do it. Because in my perfect world, I would love for you to be doing this. I would love for you to be my director of producer of videos. So like that's where I am with it. I want you to do this and I want to not worry about it.
Yeah.
So I want to get her done. And I think that I was looking for someone of your age because you guys seem to know what's up with all this stuff. So you
right.
know what kind of feel I'm going for. Did you see the video that I did? Case, you're on Facebook.
Yeah. I sent it to him.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
as far as long term goes, like I mean I've edited videos for myself, but those kind of videos are like completely different from what you're doing. So I think I need to take like as far as this first one goes, I'm gonna like try super hard to get it to how you like it and then like try and find my flow from there.
Totally fair. That's great. That's great. I'd like you to get something out of this too, besides a couple bucks. I mean, if this is something that you're like, oh man, this is really cool. I want to do this for other people. You know what I mean? Like just you have total like creative free reign based on the type of vibe, the type of feel that is a normal TikTok video or the video that I provided. So feel free to, the point of doing these is to put myself out there, market myself, create somewhat of a recognition. So when I do this book and it comes out, it's not like coming out of left field, I'm trying to do some ramp up work for it. So with all that said, I'm totally open to you to be like, you know what, but it has to stay consistent every time.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I've seen like obviously I'm on social media, so I can like tell you how, if the style of editing changes over time, like I can try and change your video.
That's great, man. That's great. And we'll find a niche and we'll find a rhythm. But for sure, let's get this one done. You said by Monday we can have it. We'll take a look at it. I'll give you my feedback on it. We can go from there. Like this one, is a test one. So it's a test video. And the video is taken like, I don't even know. I'm not even hard. It's so hard doing it. Like I didn't do it with the intention of this being the video. I just said, all right, this kind of goes together, you know? So just, I guess, is it okay if I text you about this stuff? And
Yeah,
like,
no,
when is a
that's
good time to
perfect.
text you? Like, when is it not a good time to text you?
Um, I mean, you can text me anytime, but like as far as like responses go, you can expect like a response like 12 p.m. or later.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
No,
he's
that's
got,
great.
yeah, he's got
Yeah.
school classes in the morning and stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I just want to make sure that we're respecting your boundaries and what you
No,
can
it's totally
do
fine.
and this and that, you know, and your time. And we can email too and everything. So, you know, sometimes I have a question like on the fly, or I'm like, I want to make sure I knock that out. You know, like some thought pops into my head and about maybe about what you send me, you know, like just for like time
Yeah, text is
efficiency.
totally fine. I'm gonna be like more responsive on that anyways. So
Yeah, and if it's something that's time sensitive, do a group chat.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody has a little bit of.
Yeah. And I like that. You know, that's why I continue to like be, you know, copy you on everything. So like as a puppeteer, you know exactly what's going on, plus it's your son stuff, you know. So like one of my major, you know, wasn't a concern, but I really want to make sure that we're respecting your boundaries and you know, making sure that you feel comfortable with this and not it's not too much, it's not too much communication. So just be open with that, you know.
yeah, no, for sure.
All right. That
All right.
sounds good to me.
Have
So
any-
this is a good test
Yeah,
and we'll see how it goes and we'll go from there, you know.
cool. All right, I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
All right, Ben, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Dismissed.
Thanks
Class.
again, Ben. I appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Cool. That was good. I wanted to, I was hoping that we would be able to sort of patch him in or have that talk because I just feel like, you know, I feel a lot more on the same page now, you know?
Yeah, and my intention is just for you to delegate as much as possible and kind of work, and I understand that, like the letting go, and this is what, the kind of letting go of the creative direction, or just, being
It's
more
very cool.
of director, and then, letting him cut it and
Yeah,
take.
as long as I have um honestly, like if as long as we stay consistent and we have a pattern and we have a flow, I mean, you know, he can totally like decide like, hey, you know, based on like what I'm seeing, like this makes the most sense or this is good. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a bar pretty much except for that one video, which I love, but honestly, let him, you know, I'm letting, you know, he might want to do this for other people. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guiding him in that direction for myself as well, for my next book, content, community,
yeah.
all the things,
Mhm. All right, cool. So we're good. And my true hope, man, is that he's gonna bang this video out. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And he and I are gonna be able to, you know, be like very consistent on how we do it. And literally put all the weight on me to send him the content. So um it sounds to me like, you know, and again, sometimes, you know, when you're 18, you can bite off more than you can chew, and like a couple days is not really a reality. So I'm like good with planning them. Like, I mean, honestly, like I want, you know, you always say like, hey, like, you know, cool if you can get this like, you know, in the next couple days. But if he feels or finds that like, oh, it's taking me like 3 days because I got all this stuff to do at school and I got that stuff to do, it's totally flexible. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes people that sometimes I haven't done something, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get you that in like 2 days, you know, and it's like, you know, like this came up and that came up. So there's some flexibility there, you know?
Right.
So I want to do these like pretty much like either once a week for a while, and then twice a week. So that should give him plenty of time based on what he's anticipating.
Right.
We'll see where it goes. Like, but in a perfect world, I want him to be the guy to do this and like have that in my back of my mind, knowing that that's good. Ben's got it.
Yeah, and his friend is joining the Marines
Oh,
and invited him to Japan for the summer.
Oh, okay.
like a last trip, like last bud trip, and so now he
Yeah.
has like motivation for money to go to Japan.
Yeah. Cool.
And so we're gonna be looking on some work stuff for me as well. So, I appreciate you giving him the opportunity to
Totally.
navigate because it's how do we communicate? How do we go back and forth? And some of the things that you and I take for granted as automatic,
Right.
of like, okay, this is, reply all, this is what you need to do. Keep everybody in the thread,
Right.
text back, communicate what's your text back expectation, all that stuff. So it's a good learning opportunity for
For
him.
sure.
Well,
100%. You know?
for us all, I think. But
Yeah, totally. And like I said, like I'm a guy that needs guys, like needs or girls. Like I need a guy, I need a girl, like doing what this stuff. So I'm like completely freed up to do like just to because all my free time, you know.
yeah, with all your
Anyway, awesome. That's good. I can't wait to see what he comes up with Monday. I'm hoping that it's going to work the way it is set up, like because it took me literally last weekend to like really truly figure out how I was going to get like these done, like, and it took some time, but hopefully the way it went down will, I got it now. And it's like, hopefully it'll just be all about me making content and then Ben taking his 2 to 3 days to knock the video out.
yeah.
Right. So where I am, I'm flowing. So like I'm in a good spot. Like I feel that I sent those emails out on Sunday, I think. Maybe. Yeah, I think Sunday. No, Friday. I don't know. It's been about a week. So, that was a feeling, that was a really big accomplishment. Kind of said, okay, this is super real now, So it made me feel good and it said, okay, like I knocked my stuff out for the week and I felt like, okay, this is moving. And pretty much, like I said in my email, like, I don't know, a lot of the units are super involved and super wanted to be really involved.
Good. Do you like that?
Yeah, I love that. The only thing is this feeling of leaving someone out
Mm.
and why. And, it's just this like, okay, why? Like I've invited him and him, like, or her and her, like, what's like, I have this pull in me that's like, well, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's like been like a big part of my life. So anywho, I'll figure that out. But case, if the deadline doesn't hit by July 27th and it's in and around that time, I'm okay with it because I want us to be right.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I mean, we're working in our minds. I'm just letting you know that if it doesn't happen based on logistics, based on some things, I'm okay with that. But yes, I've told everyone that this book is coming out on the 27th. That is in my head. That is a deadline that I have in my head. I'm working with that deadline. But I think, is that okay?
well, that's your baby, right?
Right. Okay, cool. I just want to, yeah.
Yeah, I see the value in allowing, it's really about what you want to prioritize, right? And so I
Yeah.
appreciate what you're saying because we have let's say finish line.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of the word deadline because it feels like
Yeah, all right. That's fair.
it has some energy around it, like it has some rigidity around it. And, that's why I like the notion of SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and they have a time constraint to it. Because what I don't want to end up happening is, making an excuse for something not happening versus really honoring the flow and not being rigid and staying in the creativity and staying flexible. So it is a balancing act, I believe, in setting the SMART goal. I don't even like the word goal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, and I work with smart goals all the time. Like, I mean, like monthly with work.
yeah.
Cool, cool. I'm trying to find that email that I sent
Did
you.
something come up for you that is like you want to just give yourself a little bit more space and freedom in that
Space and freedom, I guess. It's not, there's nothing like, I guess I'm allowing for the unexpected as far as like certain things go. Like, but I don't know. The finish line really is realistic, I think, but it's also, so that's why I'm trying to take things out of the unit's hands. So it's like all I really need is what I'm got my head wrapped around now is okay, I need to send a follow-up email today. So I need to follow up. I need to say, okay, I need your item by this day. And in all fairness, I'm trying to give these folks like a realistic time because look, they've got a million other things besides Josh's book on their minds.
Right.
So it's like, I can't really ask them, hey, what's a realistic timeline for you? Like, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh, I get you in the next couple of days, not knowing what else I had to do and then feel stressed about it. So we have to have a realistic timeline for like, okay, here's the item. This is when we're going to talk about it. And this and that, like we can talk over, you can type me what you want to say. We can do the phone call.
Right.
And record it, which I tested out. And it's okay. It's not great, it's not great. So I'm wondering if I can just manipulate the situation to make it more clear. Like, okay, like say something, full stop. And then we'll say something again, full stop. Like that might work best. And then I can upload that into like a Word doc and then maybe like ChatGPT to like massage it out and then all that.
So by that, you mean just having more structure to the interview?
Yeah, like a lot of like another friend of mine who's written a book was like, he's like, I'm assuming, I'm sure that you'll have like questions like to answer, I'm like, oh, I was kind of thinking a conversation, but like maybe we can come up with some questions to structure it for people more like easier.
Right. Okay.
Like so that I want to make it as easy as possible for these folks. Like, like super easy. Like, for example, like there's people in my neighborhood that like I'm gonna go hang out with whenever and do this with them face to face, and then all I need to do is press record on a voice memo and use that information, either just listening to it or transcribing it. But I'll get the feel for it. So there's like, let's look at the components. So you've got the unit, you've got the story of the relationship, you've got the food.
Right.
Okay. And then you have like, and I'm shifting gears more to like, look, we'll talk about my food and what I've done for them maybe, but then like the real deal is like what resonates with you, like what have we shared together that was great, or like where have we gone to eat what that's great, or but what I really want to focus on is what they grew up with or what they make now and the why there. So timeline based on that, like a structure based on those things. And then, like I had a great, I had my friends who are a couple, and my friend Carl, who's written several books, motivational books. Actually, I should probably connect you guys. They talked about like their Sicilian roots and how they used to, cook. Like Renee was something like when they first met, what she learned from Carl's Sicilian roots, and now what they do every week, and having Sunday dinner back in 10 years ago when The Sopranos are big, and watching The Sopranos and things like that, so like they really kind of expanded on, they already like answered the question, but they knew I was writing a book, so
yeah,
like prior to this.
Yeah.
So we have to think about the easiest, most efficient way to give something to them, some over email, follow up on a call or in person. And then what I am like, again, I said in my email, I don't know if I'm putting the cart before the horse, but like, I need to wrap my head around the making of this dish and the photos of this dish, you know? So that's something where I have to coordinate with people again, because in a perfect world, I'd like to do this with them.
Right.
And I'm thinking like Olivia was talking to me, she's like, why don't you just do it like, you know, at ABGB in their kitchen? Because I was like, I want to book it like a ghost
Right,
kitchen.
right, yeah.
But and I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, you know, but I can't really, it's not really like super cool to like bring people into the kitchen even when it's closed, like on a Monday, you know? So like I kind of
Right.
like the idea, the professional feel of like renting out like a commercial kitchen with like all the stuff, all like looking like a real, I mean, ABGB looks like a real kitchen, but I mean, you know, it's like,
Who's your guys is it Benny Keith, your food provider, or is it Cisco?
not Benny Keith, yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Because Cisco has a test kitchen that they let their customers use.
Oh man, that's dope. I don't know, maybe Benny Keith does too.
No, well, not not in the past 3 years,
Yeah, then I'm sure they don't then.
unless they've done something.
Um,
There's one other commission kind of little area like that near Manchac. Keystone, I think is the company. There's lots of we kind of put like a call to I don't say call to action, but or other, ghost kitchens, but really a kitchen that, someplace that's just open for dinner. It's not open during the day, so you're not infringing, or they have that structure set up already where it's like you don't feel like you're infringing because you need free reign. You know
yeah, and I'm not thinking that like it's gonna be free, like a favor. So like the thing is that like I mean I'm assuming that, you know, so like in the infringe part is like, well, if I'm paying customer, you know, or whatever, like there's that I actually went down and was gonna work with some folks at that place on the new place. I forget the name of it. It might be called Ghost Kitchen, which is like on the way to the airport,
Okay.
71. Like
Mhm.
it's a whole complex. It's pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah. Um,
That's the one David advertised for on the group.
I don't know, but I went there when before I started with ABGB. They have restaurants there, they have food trucks there that like their commissary, and then they have like just open kitchen spots, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't like the idea. Like I love Olivia's like motivation, like, hey, like keep it cheap. But like I don't know if there's value in being in my kitchen. I don't know if there's
I mean, honestly, logistically, it's going to be really challenging to coordinate everybody's physicality for any specific 1, 2, or 3 dates for given also your schedule constraints and the things that you have to work around as well. So maybe there's a possibility of, um, just getting clear saying like, hey, here's the thing, and then here's a date, maybe a date or two, blocking them out, and then if people can't make it, then providing them with another option of like, okay, I'm gonna do your food, I'm gonna do your dish, and then maybe we can grab a photo at this thing because I just, especially if it's 20 people or more, um that's going to be, I mean, you're thinking like 20 dishes, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying it's impossible to do all in a day.
no, I wasn't thinking all in a day.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking all in a day. I was thinking like that was something I wanted to get like more clear on, but I certainly wasn't thinking like during one day, like because tons of people are like, yeah, I can't get there. I can't get there for that. So I was wondering about maybe setting up like a Calendly
Yeah.
and just being like, hey, like, you know, based on my schedule and stuff and time that I might take off. Like, I mean, also as we get closer, I might take off like a week from work. I don't know. But I don't necessarily need them knocked. I mean, hey, like it'd be cool to knock out like 3 a day. Like there's people like, you know, that I'm not going to be able to do this with. Like my buddy Harry in Boston, in New Hampshire. Like he offered, he was like, yeah, that'd be great. Like I can come in like March, and I'm like, yeah, like I want this done before March. Like, you know what I mean? I want this part done before March.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so
he,
that's what you're going to encounter, I think, a lot. The more
right. Yeah. So I
from
want to like start thinking about that part because
yeah.
it's a big part. Like I'm not saying I'm there yet, but I want to start thinking about that and coordinating that. And then there's pictures. So it's like if I have like a photographer, like I mean, it's going to be they're going to have to be. I've got to work through their schedule too, and what makes sense to them. So like if I'm knocking out like one dish, then like they got to come and do the one dish and come back and do like, so there's help me with that as it comes. But for example, like my buddy Harry, we were like best friends in college in Boston. And one of the things he's like, his parents are off the boat, Greek. So what I want him to do is put together, I want him to focus on his Greek heritage. And one of the things that I remembered in college is we went up to visit because they live, New Hampshire's like an hour and a half away where he lives. And, it was Greek Easter, Orthodox Easter. And no shit, in the front lawn, they're like roasting a lamb, and he actually got back from Greece a couple months ago. And he sent me all these photos of the lamb being roasted and the people and the scenes and the like I want all that, it doesn't have to be just a picture. Like I'm wondering even if pictures from someone's iPhone, if they're good quality, can get put in not as the main thing, but put in places.
Yeah, I mean they can be put in places. The resolution settings are, not 300 DPI, 24 by 36 poster, but
Right.
when we get
So
down,
like, right.
it's certainly used online for sure.
Yeah. So like my fantasy with it was like, okay, like for that specific one, or like maybe more, like, it's like main thing, dish, recipe.
Yeah.
And then with Harry, like 3 or 4 pictures of like his trip to Greece.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody will have 3 or 4 pictures, but I see those around the actual dish. Like the dish, huge.
Yeah.
And then pieces of other pictures or other things that not everyone will have. Or maybe there's a photo of me and some other people just hanging out, or doing whatever. Like if you're gonna be a unit, I want it to be like there's some background. Like it'd be cool to have some pictures. There's more content. And listen to this idea, and I'm a little all over the place, but my buddy Carl, who is the writer, he said, yeah, wouldn't that be cool if like some of this stuff could be recorded and like podcasted out,
Mhm.
Just some neat stuff like to consider. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
QR codes.
Yeah, all the things, man. No shortage.
No
And
shortage, man.
where we had left it with um okay, so basically you send out the message and I hear you saying just to kind of simplify what you want. So in the sample script it was asking them what their favorite item was, what you all have shared, or just their thing, and then you'll have a backstory. And that, it's basically like, what is the item? Why is it important to them? And a natural thing, a natural thing for you to share apart from the interview. You can share it through the connection process if you want briefly, but really all you want to know is what is their item and why is it important to them? Right?
Right.
Pretty much, right?
Well, what is their item? Why is it important to them? And we need to tie in like our friendship.
Well, that's your job.
Right.
That's what you're gonna do. That's the story that you're gonna tell.
Yeah, but I like some insight on like some
For
things.
sure, for sure. But
I'll do the story, but I'd like for them to how do I position that? Like, I'd like for
Well, it's
them
the
to,
question, why is it important to them? Why is it important? Like, not just why is this your favorite, but I mean, you can say, why is this your favorite dish and why is this important to you?
okay. Do I
And you,
ask, should I stay away from like our story too, like together, like any insightful, like I was like, oh, I'm looking for some like meaningful like tie-ins between, maybe I stay away from that.
yeah, that's going to be too, that's going to feel like, oh, God, now I got to come up with something.
Okay, cool.
That's for you to come up
All
with
right.
in your desire to make it easy for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
this
that
is
makes sense.
why is this important to you? And then you can naturally share from your heart why you're considering them. And then also, when you talk about like your intention for the book, right? And your intent, to provide you with the space to, I don't want to say give yourself an out for them, but say, hey, like I'm connecting with all the people who mattered in my life and you matter. And also the intention of this book is like, I really want lively, create, all the intentions that you've talked about. And there may be some things that don't end up making the final cut.
Right.
Give yourself that, communicate that up front so that it doesn't turn into a whole thing. Because you also said like, oh, somebody's not going to make it, maybe not everybody's going to make it. So just talk to everybody you want to talk to and let the process filter that out. If you come out with that, if you lead with that, like, hey, I'm looking for that. This is, I want to, and really sitting with your intention for yourself in the next chapter of your own life, right?
Well, also, I was just thinking in the back of my mind too, like maybe why you want to be involved, like why you're accepting this responsibility.
Why you or why
You know,
them?
why the unit is.
Well, probably because you have a relationship with them in some way, shape, or form. Like people
Well,
are,
no,
they
that's
like to
totally, of
support, they like to
course.
support their,
Right. But I'm asking that question. I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I need to tie our personal connection in and like get some insight from them. Like one story about like one thing you remember about, or like one thing that rings out about like our like relationship, so I can have a little bit more content to tie that in. Or no.
but in that why it's important to them, you're gonna get you're gonna get the juice.
Do you think that's enough of a bite on this book? Do you think
Well,
that's
I'm just encouraging the energy of them feeling like you're taking responsibility for the story
yeah.
and they don't feel like they're responsible for writing your book and writing the story. So you can say, this is why you matter, and I just want to know like what dish, like why is this dish? This is you lead, you offer it first. You offer, why they matter, what's your favorite memory, you
Uh,
know?
that's
And
where we're sticking. That's where we're staying. That's it. That's that. That's
but
good.
that's not, and I'm saying when you lead with that, you're naturally going to get a response from them as opposed to expecting them to give you something first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the larger
Yeah,
lesson,
that's basically what I asked for.
yeah. So, I mean, it's just energetically, so it stays easy for them.
That's
You,
what I asked for.
yeah, you offer the thing first. You say, this is why you matter. This is, I love this memory, and anything else you'd like to add, right?
So
Like
this is
you can
right.
you ask them, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Right. Okay, perfect. That's great,
Right?
Case. That's great. So this is a gist of the email. And again, sometimes it was awkward because they're like really good friends and stuff. And I've had to like follow up with them and be like, hey, I just kind of had to like send this out to folks. So I said, I'm beyond excited to finally bring my cookbook project to life. I want to involve you and share this journey with you because I love you. The cookbook is going to be more than just a collection of recipes. It's about the people I care about, our unique quote unquote friendship story. the special dishes we've shared or that you grew up with, and the memories tied to the food. It's all about family, friends, and our connections and memories through what we eat. This is what I need if you're interested in being included. What's your favorite dish I've made for you, or something we shared together, or maybe there's a dish that holds a special place for you. Each dish I feature will come with a personal story, and of course, I'll be sharing why you're such an important part of my life too. I'm looking forward to some meaningful and witty tie-ins, so start thinking about that. This will be a very low time commitment on your end, but please let me know if you're in or out. If you're interested in being part of the project, we can talk over the phone, or if it's easier, you can reply to this email with your thoughts. I'll have more details about formats and timelines as I finalize everything. I aim to have this book wrapped up by July 27, 2025. Thank you in advance for being part of my life and helping me launch this project into the world.
The only edit I would make in that is deleting the word. Well, one of the edits was deleting the word need.
Is
So
what?
deleting the word need.
Okay.
So speaking energetically, if I get something from someone and they tell me they need something from me, it just lands differently than I want to include you in this, and this would mean a lot for me. You mean a lot to me. I want to make this simple and easy.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that I
Because they're
don't know
not
if everybody.
partners unless you're going to cut them into some profit or something like that.
No,
It's a
I
it's
don't
a
know. I don't know. I think that's me being direct. I think that I'm okay. I think that not everybody will take it exactly the way, might not have the same interpretation, as this is what I need if you want to do this. You know what I mean? It's like I've already
yeah,
sent these emails out, I've been greeted with, oh my God, thank you so much for including me,
yeah. It's just a little nuanced thing to encourage the energy of collaboration,
right.
to reiterate that you are taking responsibility. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they
And
don't
I
have
think I'll follow up with
they
with
don't
that.
owe you anything in terms
No, no, but again, I don't think it comes off that way to
no,
everyone.
no.
I'm not getting, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not getting hung up on that word. And based on the replies that I've gotten, it's like, well, what do you mean by need? It's like there's just
No, 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 no. This is not what I'm saying. I'm saying as an energetic thing.
oh, okay, all right. Well, yeah.
The larger thing for you, Josh, is and the way that this project represents your life to be in a state of freedom and not needing any. This is about Josh's fulfillment, Josh shining his light, Josh coming up to the stage, Josh doing his thing,
Uh,
Josh Josh being fulfilled, finding his fulfillment, Josh being the magnet, right? So it was just a little nuanced word where it's not even about the structure. It's I'm coming from the larger energetic place for you to be in, to where you're not approaching anybody in any of your relationships from a place of need, but a place of fulfillment where like, oh my God, I'm doing this project and I would just love to include you, and then this is my next thing. And so, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, I just don't want to get hung up on that part. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just all right, I guess we can use different language, or we can consider that in the next email that I'm going to send to them once I get follow up from you, like the summary of what we're looking for in the next communication. Because it's like, okay, we've established that you want to be involved, but now we've got to follow up with, this is what I would love for you to,
Right. Yeah. It's a perfectly, once they say yes, it's like, okay, great. This is what I need from you.
yeah, okay.
That's all.
Yeah, let's move on from that for sure.
Yeah. Like once they're a yes, it's like, okay, awesome. Here's what I need.
Right.
Right. But like just in the initial,
All right.
we were talking about getting the yes and getting to the next step. Right. So, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
mindful of keeping it easy and saying, why is this important to you? What's their favorite? Like, giving them, just communicating the expectation of like, hey, I'm just gonna talk about your item, why you matter to me, and then anything else you'd like to add.
Okay.
Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Well, all right, but this is all been done.
Right. And so that's just what I wanted to, as speaking energetically moving
Okay.
forward, to stay in the space of ease and
Okay.
creativity and flow and lightness, because that's where the magic is.
Okay.
And so if I hear you correctly, from the previous script, what's outstanding is just to clarify. So follow-up email with um clarify of why it's important to you, John. You know, you just want to know the item and why, you can tell them why it's important to you, and that you just want to know what their item is and why it's important to them. And then if you could let me
Well,
know.
I don't know, like their item might not be important to me.
Right.
So basically what I'm asking the clarity or the follow-up is like, okay, what's your item in a nice energetic way? What's your item? Why is it important to you? And I don't know. Like
What do
that's
you mean by this? Three are not with us anymore? 25
they're
units.
passed on.
Okay. Um, okay, so of this 25, you've identified them. How many have come back and said, yes, we're a go? You've gotten action, you've gotten some clarity from them as they're a yes.
Did I say, like, what did I say in there? I didn't mention that.
The 25 are going to be involved, but I didn't know if that was just
Okay, so I have,
you
let me tell you
identified.
who's involved. Okay, let me tell you, like, this is what's up. This is what I know for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got my brother and my sister-in-law. Then I've got, so these are the couples. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including Olivia and me. 3 that are passed on, so I can control that. And then I have, so that's how many?
8.
Okay. So I have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then I have my bike group that I'm doing on my own. And I don't need anything from them. And then ABGB, which I'm doing on my own. So I'm waiting on 1, 2, 3. I mean, honestly, like, I might not get into this person. Like when I start talking about, well, yeah, she's amazing to me and she helped me with my food. So for some reason, my partner is being a fucking, like, my ex-business partner, Jason, who, like, needs to be in this story. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, needs to be in this book, like he's just being like, he was like, oh my God, it's an honor. It's like, I'll let you know. And I think, like, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I followed up with him and I followed up with another person. I was like, oh my God, thank you. And, I'm like, I'll talk to you more about it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I really want Jason to be tied into this because of how I started my culinary journey.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a huge part of my life in this aspect. We don't talk anymore, really. And that's where we are. So 3 are passed away, so I'll have that on my own.
Yeah.
2 are groups or ABGB, one ABGB, another is my ride group. Okay, so that's, and then one's Olivia and me. So like basically there's a lot of units, right? But like knocking them out as couples means it's like one thing, you know, like because they'll work together, and you know, Olivia and me will do our thing, and I might have. You know, I was talking to my buddy John in LA before the fire started, and you know, he might do a couple. Like, there's people that really mean a lot to me, best friends, like my dad, who's passed on. I might do like 3 things for him, you know, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I can do it. I can make that happen. Like my brother, a couple things, you know,
Yeah.
but that's tied into like chapters, like family,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
friends, groups. And then, like, you know, my relationship with Olivia is we're going to do salads,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And then I'll tie in Travis, who is making boards for us in that unit. Not like I won't even need to anything from him,
Right.
you know? So like there's as we go, there's more I'm thinking through, I'm like finding like more content, but hopefully less work, right?
Right.
Like less work, but like more idea. So I'm in that space now too.
Okay. So you listed 20.
Right.
And have you identified of those 20? So basically Bike, ABGB, 3 that passed away, you and OJ, or you and Olivia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's basically 6 that you don't need anything from as far as yeses, right?
Right.
So is there a list or a checklist or people that you've tracked as yeses of the
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 or just 12, including me and Olivia. Or if we're taking that out. So 11 have said, yeah, I'd love to be involved.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So basically, you have like 11 yeses, and so there's not a hard push for the other 9 or a hard push for Jason right now as of this red hot minute. You know he's important to you and the story's important to you.
Yeah, and if I can cut him out, if I can literally cut him out if I want to. I told him, I'm like, you're going to be in this book regardless, but I'd
And
love your participation.
well, what was your guys' dynamic? Like, how did you end? Was it
Um,
positive?
I'm good. I mean,
Well,
yeah, like good terms. Like he's one of my, you know, he's like we were like, up. This just, you know, this just didn't work out. We're gonna try other options. Like I was always the leader of our
yeah,
group.
sounds
Okay,
like it.
like I was always the hustler. He was always a little bit more in the operations space. He was
Uh-huh.
able to be in the trailer all the time. Um, you know, but we had a conflict. We had like, I mean, I'd say like 20%, 30% of the time we were in a relationship. There was conflict. There was like tension at times, but there was also like amazing times of like total like creative flow, and just like he was we were yin yang like in a lot of ways, but like I was a lot of times I think about him, I could have done this on my own. I think about him as kind of like my Wooby in the food thing for a while.
Yeah.
So no, good terms. He's a kind of a little bit of a hermit, you know. He wound up, he had a drinking problem that got curbed and then pops up again. And then apparently he had apparently he went to he went into treatment. So that was a while ago. And apparently I know he's been doing well. He's told me he's doing well, but again, I don't know. So that could be a thing, but I can do Jason and me by myself, you know?
What do you mean by that?
Meaning I don't need his feedback. I don't need his involvement really. I'll tell my story about me and Jason, and I'll probably put a couple of our like top selling items that we were really known for in there. So what is accumulating are the photos that are going to need to happen. So I have a feeling that's where I'm going to spend the brunt of my money.
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they got to be dope. You know, they got to be really cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I mean, I just think like if it's important to you, I just in terms of having Jason or not.
It is important to me that because we do flow like we do when we get going, like I would love to revisit our partnership in French, not our partnership, but I would love to revisit our friendship. Like I'd love to, you know, connect with him and like I got things from him. Like he got things from me.
Yeah.
Like we had a like like we were like tied to each other. And I would love for him to be involved in that story, but I already know that I can do it on my own if I had to. But it would
Yeah.
be a shame, you know?
Yeah.
But
You said you guys don't talk anymore, or you do?
I mean, we don't talk daily, we don't talk weekly, like, but like I still send him like dick pics. I mean, not my dick. So like, I mean, we had this thing like like we had this thing where like we'd be in the store and like we just like I just recently sent him a huge like I was at Costco and they had a amazing pork loin for like $16 and I'm like, hey, pork loin special, and you just hold it here and you take a picture, but it could be anything like a cucumber, whatever. Every time you think about it, you're just like, oh, I got a daikon radish. Like he'll send me stuff too, like, and it's just it was like our thing,
Yeah.
like, it's a
Yeah.
total joke, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's our thing. So I'll still do that, and he'll still do that. But like I know that he's really introverted right now. He's an introvert in general, but he's gone through a lot and a lot of personal shit. So he's never been like out and about. He's always kind of been quiet. So it is, but I would say in October, like he did spend quite some time with me going back and forth with Instagram, trying to figure out how to make the pairings like sign into that account and like get the two-factor authentication. Like he showed up, so when I feel like I don't need to talk to him. I can talk to him once or twice a year and it's still like we still have like it's like your ex-wife
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
your ex-wife, but it's like an ex-partner that
Yeah.
you're on good terms with,
Yeah, you're on good terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel like so he left it with basically I'll let you know. So in your own mind, in your own heart, do you feel like you've given him permission to be yes or no?
Yeah,
Specifically, permission to be
100%.
no?
And I followed up with him the other day. I followed up with two people. That's it. That were kind of like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Thank you so much. So thoughtful. And I'm like, I'll get back to you on it. And I'm like, okay, like I also need to like, anyway, I might have been too premature to get back to those people, but yeah, I was like, hey man, like I'm like, he was like, thank you so much. I'm honored to be a part of this. I'm honored that you thought of me,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, like I'm like, you are a huge part of the beginnings of what like how this is going on. Like a huge part. You played a big part in this role or
Yeah.
in my role,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be the same without you, you know?
Yeah.
But I told him, I also said, I'm like, hey man, like you're going to be involved. Like your name is going to be in this book. Your stuff with me is going to be in this book. Like it would mean a lot to me for us to do this part together.
Hmm. And that's a part just to clean up just a little bit, or I would say an opportunity to clean up so that it feels better for both of you guys. Because if you are using someone's specific name, you do need their permission.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So, but I'm saying you can table Jason because you have all these other people to work on, all these other units to work on, right?
yeah, like
Work
I
on.
don't feel, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if it's not okay to say my business partner Jason Sider and I started this. Like, I don't know if I have to ask his permission.
You could say my business partner Jason, but like full name
All right,
technically.
it's fine.
Um,
I think it was coming from a place case where it was like, hey man, you're so important to me. Our thing was so important. Like, I don't think he's gonna get caught up in the minutia of like, ooh, wait, you're using my name. Like, I just don't think he'd do that. But I'm hearing you say that you can include people's names, or you need to be mindful of their names, or like they're part of this and their privacy unless you want to pay them.
well, just I'm encouraging the energy of collaboration,
Okay.
right? And
Mhm.
so that can morph and change. And, this project for you and kind of picking up pieces of yourself along the way from your previous relationships, your previous and current relationships, and you stepping into this new and improved version where you're doing these things, you're feeling fulfilled, you're feeling light, you're feeling easy. It's being mindful of the energy through the process, seeing ways in which possibly the energy, how to keep that energy in the flow. And so to stay collaborative, to stay giving people the freedom and the space to collaborate, as opposed to declaring that you're doing it with or without them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a nuance in the energy and the approach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, I'm totally with the collaboration part. It's just like, I don't want to get stuck up on like things like the word need. I don't want to get stuck on like the what I said to Jason, because I can talk to Jason that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's the way I talk to the way I type that is like he knows what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get stuck up on
No,
like
I'm
that.
talking about what you said to me.
What do you mean?
Like you were like, he needs to be in this book. He needs to be.
I'm saying that as in, like, when I say he needs to be, like, I'm saying, Case, he's so important to me that I need him to be in this. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to get like, I hear you, but like, based on my relationships with the people, like, that's what I meant. Like that's why I don't want to get hung up on that word. It's like, I need him to be in it, like I want him, I need him, like,
Yeah.
you
I'm just
know,
addressing the potential because you're not getting what you want from him
say
right
one.
now. You expressed a frustration to me about him just saying like, yeah, I'll let you know. And this question mark because he's not a clear yes. He's a thank you for thinking of me, but he hasn't given you a clear yes yet,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, but I'm not hung up on it. So like maybe I just sounded like that. Like maybe I
Yeah, so I
sounded
mean, this
frustrated.
is why I exist to keep the creativity flowing. So if
Mhm.
you expressed frustration over not having a yes, so what do you do with that moving forward? You table it, you give him permission to be a no. You can look at ways where you can approach this project more collaboratively, come back to your intention for this book, your intention for upping your own game for yourself to be more creative, to shine your light, to elevate yourself.
Okay.
And because it's a relationship book and a cookbook. So because you want to do both, there's no way the project is going to be just about food.
Right.
So, like this is the creative relationship project cookbook,
Okay.
you know,
Mhm.
because that is your goal, right? Or not goal, but the intention, right? Like you want to get it out into the world. You want to show the people that you value. You want to communicate your value. You want to say, hey, this is why this thing matters to me. You want to engage with them and possibly get some insights into why it matters to them as well. And move forward into this next chapter, generating income for yourself that is more creative and fulfilling, and not be tied to, well, at least that's what I heard, right? Like, I'm not saying you're going to quit your job today, but in a perfect world, having an income where, establishing your brand as you're the food guy, you're the creative food guy. Oh, you want to work with, you need Josh Epstein in your kitchen,
Mhm.
or not. I don't know if that's
No, like that's the
I'm not
goal.
saying that's like the thing we're pushing for and it has to happen today. But you mentioned when we first started this dream thing for yourself.
Yeah. No, 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 no. Like you're 100% right on like what we talked about like months ago. Like that's like you got it. Like this is
But this is
definitely
where we're staying. We're staying in that space though,
okay.
and identifying anything in the way so that you can create from the dream space creation.
Okay. Okay. No, I feel you. I get what you're saying. Um, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying when I voice worry or frustration or overly needing something, it takes away from the space. Okay.
It takes away from the flow.
Okay. All
Like,
right.
okay, you didn't get a yes from Jason. All
Okay.
right.
I
Now
guess,
you have 11 other people to work from. You can follow, and just
yeah. I mean, I guess where I'm stuck is that like I'm on the same page. Like for me, it's like that's why I'm saying, like, hey, I can do Jason without Jason.
totally.
Yeah.
And,
So I think that was what you were saying. Like,
I
hey,
understand that you can.
okay.
And the original intention was more like I don't want to say relationship reconciliation, but like you reconciling yourself to yourself, you picking up all these. It's like all these relationships are ingredients to people who have made you you, right? And so whether they be business partners, family, whatever, right?
Right.
They're all the kaleidoscope of you. And
Right.
so
And
whether or
like
not
Jason is specific, like to this food journey that I started and I was on. Like he was here and here and here and here, and then he left, and then now I'm going here. But like a lot of my confidence has come from him too, like our work together. So like Jason's, I guess, hung up on this on Jason, like Jason. I don't know, man. Jason's just there in the beginning. Like, he's a big part of like how I got into this, my story that I'm going
yeah.
to tell. That's
Yeah.
it.
So what comes up for me is what a lot of people love and what my clients have loved too. Like I'm like, I just someone just said this yesterday about a letter of recommendation. The other person wrote they were like, yeah, I'll just write what you want me to say and I'll sign it. A lot of people do letters of recommendations like that. I've done my testimony. I'm like, hey, can you sign off on this testimonial? I'll write it. Like, can I write something and then you tell me if it's good and I come up with it and it's an opinion about myself, but like I came up with it and they just like, yep, sounds great. Like
Okay.
that's also a possibility, where if he is someone who has, it sounds like he's gone through a lot, he's, dealing with whatever he's dealing with. Um, just keeping the energy light for him so that he doesn't feel and as he represents all the microcosm of this whole project of keeping it light and fun and Josh taking responsibility and like, hey, we want to collaborate and like this is what I want to include you and do you want to approve this? This is what, kind of what I was saying before, like you leading with the thing, you leading with why they matter, you leading with the thing, and then getting it back to you.
Okay.
And just right now, it's like, okay, didn't get a yes, table it, put it on the back burner. focus on what you can, which is are these, basically 11 people or units, we'll say units where you have a yes, or there are people that you don't need approval from because you already have it. And so that's over half that you can start with. So in
Mhm.
your follow-up email to the people you haven't gotten yeses from, you can say something very specific around, oh my gosh, the response has been overwhelming. I'm getting right into working in production mode. I'm screening editors. I'm screening, all these things. With that said, would you be able to give me, a yes or no by this date? So that, does that make sense?
Mhm.
So then you have all your units cleared. Um, I mean, how's that feel?
Yeah, totally.
How's that feel for you?
That's good. And what I do want to not, what I want to move away from is like, uh, because I might switch someone out. Like I might like if I don't hear from someone about it, like nope, no, nothing personal, but I'm gonna like replace that unit with someone else that was kind of like maybe on like a teeter. So
Totally.
basically,
Yes.
like
Yes.
I'm okay with my buddy Jeff not doing this. You know what I mean? Like I would like him to, but I'm okay with him not being in a place or him not being interested in doing it. I that's okay. Like it's just one example of one of the people. Like I'm not going to do him with yeah, like I'm not I need yeses from people if I'm gonna do them. So
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Like it's all the yes, all the yes.
so what we'll do so what I want to do to stay on task with everything and in my mind be like, okay, this is what's happening next and this is what like so I can wrap my head around my weekly goals
Yes.
because we need to come up with a very specific 3-question
Yeah.
thing
So
we
circle.
discussed in the beginning
Yep.
and then send that out and then that's and again I'm coming from a place of like I know everyone's busy and I know like I want to do as much work as possible for I want to make this easy.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because this is my thing, like they're not getting cut in, like they're not getting
Right.
anything out of
Yeah.
this.
Right. Yeah.
And if people choose to expand, they choose to expand. So, I think I guess what we have to like think about is like we're sending that email and it's like, okay, what's a realistic timeline? Like what do you think's a realistic timeline?
Um, okay, so I'm glad you asked because I have your original timeline here. Um, we've identified the people and we've got 11 um personal tie-ins and we talked about that. Um, so screen hire editor, layout designer, template formula we've done, total unit count we've done. Um,
Wait, did you say screen an editor? Editor?
mhm.
Who you screened an editor?
But that's on the task list for January.
Oh, sorry.
Um, and I can update this timeline because I sent this 2 weeks ago. I think I sent this in December towards actually a month ago, December 14th. Um, but I did have 20 units complete by basically the intention or the ideal goal is to get the final content to the layout designer by June. So that kind of reverse engineers your final editor review, the last 2 weeks of May, and then finalizing the content. Um,
When would you say do we add? Again, I have to go find that, but like when we talk about like executing the item and the picture, like that's I would assume coming March, April, March, or March, April, May,
May.
May. Okay. Good. That's good. That's good information for me to know, like wrap my head around.
Right now, like we have final content 512.
Okay.
Um, so
Okay.
that
Okay.
includes photos. So that's text and photo. So then editor has their thing. They've got a couple of weeks. And then while they're reviewing the editor, we create the launch plan, marketing strategy, all those that type of stuff. And then we get the final content. We go back and forth with the editor. We get the final content done in June, and then they lay out the book, they import it. There's a few things along the steps along the way in the editing process and the finalization of it. So what I would say I can do is I can kind of revisit this timeline, kind of crossings off, circle back with, all right, if we want, now we know you can start on 11 out of the 20 something units. And then the units that we haven't heard back, yay or nay from, give them a cutoff time. And then also give really push for scheduling the unit. I mean, you can start on Jason's if you wanted to. Just as, hey, I'm gonna say just kind of table that for a minute now that I'm thinking about it, because you can start on ABGB, the bike, you and Olivia, and then the three people who passed away. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that's 6 right there. So do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I think you can congruently be working on writing these 6, giving the other 5 who have said yes a time, getting a doodle poll, or are you familiar with doodle?
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I would love to, have a 5-minute, 5-10 minute conversation and or email, which do you prefer? And then I'd like to do this within the next X amount of, weeks or months.
Well, what do you think though, as in your recommendation? I totally get it. Like doing the 6 that I can do on my own and then working congruently with the yeses who need that. I need that. Like I would like there to be a realistic timeline for them.
Absolutely, yeah. So then you go back and say, great, this is what I'm going to need. I'm going to need a connect by this date. What days, times work for you? And or would you prefer an email,
But yeah. So what do you think? What's your recommendation for the cut for the date from as far as it's with, more than anyone when I need this thing to happen. So it's January 11th. Like what would you say, would you recommend good date would be for these yeses?
I would say what's going to drive that is when you think you can complete these 6 units on your own. Like, when do you want to commit to, or what feels good for you to be like, yeah, I can write out these key points.
I'm not sure if I'm down with that. I think that like I can write these or start to write these, but I still want to keep folks on task, not just because it's
right. You're keeping them on task, but it's also staying on track to produce the content. Like you're going to have to produce this content either way.
right. I guess let me like explain to you more about why I want to say, okay, I've asked you a week ago, you said yes. I would like this, like I want to have it all done and tidy in my head, meaning I want to say, okay, like I've done these 6, I've got Carl and Renee. Okay, I've done these Carl and Renee, I've got Ann and Craig. Like also it's important to me because of the fact that like in the back of my mind, like Olivia and I really sold the fact that we were doing this book. And I think what's important to me is folks also sensing an immediacy, like, okay, like this is like like putting some like timelines, it just makes it more real. Like it's like, okay, it makes you more involved. It makes it more like, okay, like I said
Yeah.
yes, I need to
Yeah.
do this. Like
Yeah.
I could have said no, I could have said maybe, I could have not replied, but like this is Josh like moving this along.
Right.
And
100%.
that's important to me. Maybe that's just a self thing. So like I know I can do the 6 on my own whenever, right soon, but I'd like to have all of the information like in a stable or in a folder. So I know in my mind that it's on me to go do the rest of those. I just need to keep people organized, man. I need to like because I know how I am, and I would love to just be like I would love for folks to know that I'm asking them to do something, take their time, and it's a serious thing to me. Why
Yeah.
I'm needing it at a certain time. Plus, in the spirit of like things come up for people, things happen. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to leave this out there. I want to be direct and proactive. And like in my OCD mind, I need that. So I don't need like, okay, I've got 6 to do, and then I can get like, I can get their information like after I'm done with the 6. Like I don't want to leave it out there. I want it to be like, I'm sorry if I'm being like super critical today or like rigid, but this is what I
No, I
need to work.
appreciate you saying. So what I hear is it works better for you to get the finalization of everyone who's going to be involved first before you can move on and start writing the content.
No, no. I need, I can start writing the content today for the 6.
Okay.
But what I need in my mind is having the units or the people tell me what they're going to do and why it's important to them. Not before, not after I do the 6. I need that
Oh,
information.
yeah. No, yeah.
Like in a perfect world, bro, I would like to send an email as a follow up to create I wouldn't say a sense of urgency, but a sense of this being real. Like I've put in like
Yeah.
this is an honor for me, but it's an honor for you, and I want to I want to have that. And like, I also don't want to be in a situation where like a lot of people do this. They're like, oh yeah, I'm doing this book and, I really want you to be involved in it and, leave it out there. I want to be like, okay, I told you, I really want you to do this book. I want you to be involved. Here's why. Boom. I'm following up and making this reality.
Yeah.
Not like, okay, in a few weeks or a month, I'll get back to you on what, like another reminder. People forget I'm like not top of mind for everyone except for my son, my brother, and Olivia, maybe,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, what I'm asking you is if I email people today,
Mhm.
okay, what is a realistic timeline? I was thinking 2 weeks.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking any more than that because
Okay.
yeah. I mean, my intention is identifying what's going to keep you feeling like you're moving forward,
Uh,
right? And so not everybody move. That's why I was asking what's important for you to feel, because some people are like the order of the things, which I totally get. Not everybody has the same process, right?
Yeah. So for me, because of all the things I've got going on in my life, for me,
Right.
it's really important to be like, okay, this is happening. This is moving forward. So for me to feel good was getting that's why I started our conversation. It's like, I feel really good that I've
Yeah.
sent these emails and
Yeah.
I put my stuff out there, made it aware that is, I feel good about that. So what is going to make me feel good in the next 2 weeks is, or whatever, is saying, okay, I'm following up with the yeses and being very intentional. Like there's a lot of intention that's here. Oh shit, man, Josh, totally. I mean, like he's moving this along. Like, I mean, like 2 weeks. Like that's gonna make me
Yeah.
feel good.
I was thinking if you've got 5 yeses, 5 people who have responded and said yes, those are the 5 people that you need to connect with, right?
Yeah.
So I personally, I know we talked about emails and things like that, but I personally feel like you would get something out of a phone call over an email in terms of like keeping it easy, keeping it light, and then also keeping it connected and collaborative and communicating your value, like communicating why they have value to you. Like it's just so much nicer to speak to someone, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes.
Right. So this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I thought we were. So basically, we're going to send the email.
Right.
What's your item? Why is it important to you?
Right.
Right. Then, after I get that information, we're going to have that personal call to get more information or to expand on what they're writing me.
Oh, okay. So I was eliminating a step.
Yeah, because in the vibe of like, these are my friends, these are my people, these are like things like, you can like, why is it important to you, and that's can't just stop there. You know what I mean? Why is it important to you? Like 2 sentences, 3 sentences, whatever. And then we go into a more of a heartwarming conversation. So I can't, I feel that it's unrealistic to say, hey, I would like the item and why it's important to you in the next 2 weeks. Like, let's
No,
have a talk.
I'm trying to get clear on a strategy to get you the information that you need, and as well as to be in integrity into the with the whole project. So identifying, do you want to do it over email or phone? Your connection time.
I would prefer the phone. However, it's easier for people to write an email, to reply to an email. So remember, what I'm trying to do is make this easier for people.
Right.
Like what I would do, sure. I'm a talker. I'd love to have a conversation on the phone. That's what we talked about initially and recording it,
Mhm.
But is that going to be easier for everyone else and keeping everyone else respecting other people's time?
Well, if you set the parameter on it, that's why I was saying you've got five. If the intention is now that you have a yes, say, okay, great. I want to connect for, 10, 15 minutes here. And then you, Josh, take your doodle poll and say, this is our intention. I'm going to ask you what your favorite item is. Why is it? I'm going to tell you why you're important to me, or I'm going to share with you why you're important to me if you haven't already. What's your favorite item? And then anything else you'd like to add. So there's like very clear, like 3 bullet points,
Okay.
setting the expectation for the connection call of like, oh, I love to just connect with you briefly, share with you in real time a little bit more about why I want to include you. So it's an opportunity for you to lead with the thing that you want, right? To give them the thing that you want first. Because you do want to know anything else that they would like to add, but to stay in this energy of like free, creative, like collaborative, this is fun and clear, right? Are you feeling a little overwhelmed or what's the feeling I'm sensing?
I feel like we're having a lot of disconnects based on semantics,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. I think that uh yeah, I just feel like we're like missing each other on some things, and part of that's probably me and the way my mind works, seeing like, okay, that's on me, maybe, So what we'll do is we'll get the follow-up email, okay, and we'll say, like, let's have a phone call. Here's a doodle poll. I'll put that out there.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
works, But like part of this is like making it easy for people. So it's like, shit, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to have a call, man. Let me just write a little bit and then maybe we can talk more. You know what I mean? Like, I like the idea of having that call. I don't like the idea of voice memos not picking up everything and blending things in together. Like that's redundant to me. So that's my only drawback on the call. Now, there are people in this neighborhood that I live in that are involved. Several of these people, these units are several of these couples are in this neighborhood. So it's very easy to just hit record on a voice memo and go in and just read and just listen to the voice memo. So let me handle that part, obviously, but like I guess I'm trying, I don't know why, man. It's my OCD mind. I'm trying to get like a very specific task for me to do so I can move past.
Right. This is why I was getting clear on what do you want.
Okay. What I, in a perfect world, what I'd want is to have a phone call or to have a
So
sit down.
that's what we communicate. That's what
Okay.
you said.
Okay.
You just stay in this perfect world scenario.
Okay. Okay.
And
That makes sense.
you give them a cutoff time and a doodle poll for connecting and keeping it simple. These are your 3 points. You just reiterate so it feels super easy and you're getting what you want.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, that makes sense. I get
And
it.
then in the meantime, also setting a cut, going back to the people, the 11 or so people that you haven't heard back from, saying, hey, I've gotten an overwhelming response. Things are moving forward. Would love
Well,
to.
there's really only there's really only 3 people I haven't heard back from.
Oh, I thought we only out of the 20 you heard. So you got yeses.
So here's the thing. I'll say it again. So people that are in, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 couples that are in. So that's 5 that's 5 things, 5 units. Then I have individuals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I have the 3 that are passed on. And then I have ABGB and my bike group.
So you and Olivia are part of the 5 couples? Or I had you as
Yeah.
you're part of the 5. Okay. Then you have 8 singles, 3 passed, and 2 biz.
So to be fair, I think we just move away from the people that haven't, not move away, but not focus on the people that have said no. Like I don't need to. I followed up with them.
So you have 5. So if I hear you correctly, the past and the 3 people have passed, the 2 business. But you've gotten yeses from the other 4 couples,
Right.
and then yeses from 8 singles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you really only heard, so that's 18 units as a yes. So you're only like maybe, so you don't have much follow-up.
No, and I did. And I
don't have
followed
much
up with,
follow-up- You don't have much follow-up at all to get a yay or nay.
right.
Um, and so really it would be about scheduling your phone time with them, with the yeses.
Right.
So that is going to, I think it 10, 15 minutes times, I mean, obviously you don't need to biker or the ABGB people who have passed. So that's 3, 4, 5. So that's, 11. So 11 times, I'm lumping Olivia in there, which really isn't. if you do 15 minutes, a couple or 15 minutes a unit, that's basically 2.75 hours. That's 3 hours of your time. Um, if you
Yeah.
do, 30 minutes, that's obviously double that. 5.5, 6 hours. So I think if you say you want to aim for 15, allow for 30, say 5 hours makes six. You budget out 6 hours over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What do you want to say?
Well, what I said in my email was the next couple slash few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I had in my head. Um, but that's what did I say? So these are deadline or finish lines for um these are fit so I'm gonna follow up with the yeses and let them know that, I'd like to have this information, these conversations wrapped up in 3 weeks. Here's a doodle poll.
Yeah.
What works? And
Yeah.
I'll bend around your schedule,
Yeah.
right?
Because then, I mean, then you're scheduling out 11 things,
Yeah.
11 connection calls. I think you can say really simple, keep it, just 15 minutes. What's your favorite item? Why is it important to you? And share a little bit more about the project. And in that, or a little bit more about, why it's important to you, whatever. Like you want that connection. I think that's where the beauty is going to come from for you personally, so that you feel like you feel fulfilled from you get to the fulfillment piece of this. This is a lot of the minutia of the admin,
Yeah.
and it's the part that not everybody likes, especially if they're heart-centered and they like the connection and the creativity. It's like we need that connection. So that's, I think, gonna help move things along.
Yeah. And again, like look, this is a huge heart project for me.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing like that, but in the same the where you might hear um agitation or I don't know what other word I'm using, or like impatience. That's because of the fact that while this is a feel good piece, it's a heart piece, it's a creative piece, it's a baby, it's all that. But like you said, the administrative part in the beginning, like for me to be in my head and be like, okay, it's truly one of my major goals that I have to work on every single week and line up, just like going to work, just like doing work on myself, just like going to the gym. Like it's important for me to have my next steps ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like last week, I think I did a good job on we set goals, and for the most part, I'd say 90% were met. And that doesn't include like, okay, we don't have a video, but everything got to Ben.
Yeah.
Um,
You sent out the you
I
sent
sent out
out
the email, like for me, it's like, okay, every week I have to feel like I'm doing something to move things along
totally.
in a way that's like reaching the finish line. And I do have not severe, but I have a lot of OCD, man. I
Yeah.
have a lot of ADHD, so I need to like, this is the way. So if I sound impatient or agitated, or it sounds like there's conflict, it's just because I'm trying to, like, my brain is thinking in maybe ways that we haven't established yet.
Yeah.
So no, don't take it personally.
Well, I also want to say too, like, I'm always, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I often, you know, ask myself, what can I do more to practice what I preach in terms of setting the environment for, safety and fun and creativity and, to reiterate, acknowledge you for taking on this project and doing the work and, getting out of your comfort zone and doing the uncomfortable things and
Yeah. And I think we're,
doing it. Like I'm sorry I haven't been more of that for myself. So, when I'm saying these things to you about being your most magnetic self and all the things and like attract, being in that energy, like it's the energy I desire for myself, right? And so I want you to what I want for myself is also what I want for you. And it's also like important for me for me not to come across as rigid or, so to dance between that creative.
I don't think you're coming off as rigid at all. I think that I'm coming off as rigid, and I want you to know that like once this part is laid out,
Yeah,
then I'm going to move into like creative, calm, collected, fun space. It's
right.
just this one part needs to
Right.
get there's just business that needs to
Yeah.
get done. This is
I'll
business
I'll
now.
say it's like the painful part of the process. If I want to use a religious analogy, it's like the crucifixion process where it
Mhm.
hurts and we're like, ugh, ugh, ugh. We can talk about making it fun and some things just aren't
Oh,
fun. That's just part of it. And
right.
then there's the cave process where we go in and we do the work and we take all the things and we kind of
Yeah.
hide in and we huddle and we make our thing and then we come out of the cave with our new version of ourselves.
Right. And I think that to me, like this is the part where I can't control this part. I can control it by saying this is what I need or this is what I want. That's how I control it. And then I move towards, okay, I don't have to, I can relinquish control and be kind to myself and I have all the stuff I need.
Right.
Then, then I move towards a place of total creative energy and freedom and fun and ideas that I want to go with this, where I want to go with this. But like right now, I can control the six. That's what I was saying in my email. Like I can control these, and I'm not like I am a control person because of the OCD, but like I'm gonna feel really good inside when I have those yeses squared up, doodled out.
Yes. So when I love that you said the only thing you can truly control is yourself, right? Like
Right.
the part that you can't control. And so bringing yourself like in your mind, just taking a minute, especially, as a fellow ADHD or OCD or bringing that calm to yourself by visualizing. Oh, I have all my yeses. Oh, I have all my dates set. Oh, I have like, giving yourself a minute to really, Seven Habits of Effective People talks about this, begin with the end in mind, right? All the visualization, all the things, those are that like your mind and your energetic body, like that's what you can control always, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Totally.
to giving yourself permission to feel as good as you can throughout the whole process and understanding too, like, oh, it's going to be so nice when you have all your yeses, you have all your yeses, you have all the communication back, you have all your content, you're moving things forward.
Yeah. And I think part of me is like, you know, I feel like Olivia and I bluffed, unfortunately, on our book. So for me, I have it in the back of my mind too that like, okay, I don't want to cry wolf again. I don't want people thinking like this is just a pipe dream, like I need that validation too. So that's another reason why I'm trying to put keep it organized and put these like stay in the like, hey, I told you I'm doing this, told you I want you to do this, I told you the date I want to get it done, I want to finish. I'm following up just to keep that in your mind that like this is something that's happening versus Olivia and I saying we want to do this and we're gonna do this like that's still like I have a problem with what happened because I feel we were premature, not on my end, but we were premature that we were going to do this. And we said it and we put it out there. And that's like crying wolf. And that's like just, it diminishes like your word in a sense. So I'm like building that back up. Like that's on me. That's my shit. But like, I'm sure, some people have asked me, so, hey, when's your L's book coming out? And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, so like part of me, it's very important for people to take me seriously.
Yeah.
And sometimes when things like this happen or things like that happen, I feel the next thing, it's like, oh, is he going to do this or what? So.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, and I know I can see it a little bit differently because I'm not I don't have the same experience as you,
Mhm.
but it could also just be like you're testing out something in the kitchen, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I
oh,
don't want to get hung up on it. These are just my feelings.
I know, but I'm saying like this is part of your
No, right,
alchem
right. Yeah.
you're cooking out, you're alchemizing your experiences. And
Right.
this book project is no different than anything you make in the kitchen.
Hmm.
So it's about you have a problem, you feel like, oh, I get it, wanting to, for me, what I hear in that is that it's important to you that you finish what you started,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so, okay, Josh Epstein finishes what he fucking starts.
Right. Like
And
totally.
that is like, oh, I thought I was starting with a creme brulee, but it turned into a roux. I don't know. That's a horrible example because like
Yeah. No, I get it
not
though.
even
Like,
related. But when you start cooking and you start creating in the kitchen, you think it's gonna, and you're like, oh, let me add some of this. Let me add, oh, and this is what it turned out to be. So
no, totally. I mean,
the OJ
100%.
part, the
100%.
Olivia part is just from my perspective, it's just a learning. Like, oh, you learn that this is how you don't keep a certain pasta in the oil. Oh, this is what it is now because like it wasn't meant to be what it was.
Yeah. No, that's right. And
It's a very
again,
positive.
we're also revisiting what Olivia and I intended on doing.
Yeah, because you always had that friction with a misalignment with what it was for you versus what it was for her.
Right. Yeah.
So, from my perspective, it was never going to be just you and her because it was more your thing and you wanted to include other people as well.
Yeah.
So, it expanded.
Yeah. And I think,
To me, it's just like a slow boil.
yeah.
But it's still water, like you're still showing up and finishing your
And
pasta.
I think that like for me, this is all about me. For me, like I find that I do worry about what other people think. So I get what you're saying as far as like what is happening like within me and like what makes sense. But like I do have a hang up on sometimes and what people being honest with you, like what people think of me. You know what I mean? There's some insecurity. There's some like that is where it ends. That is where it ends. Josh finishes what he started. Josh said he's going to do something. He does it. That didn't
Yeah.
happen last year for lots of reasons. Nobody knows except for
It's
me and Olivia.
evolved, man. Like it just evolved. You can relate to it as an evolution.
That's what I'll do. But it's like in that mode, like there's still that's what happened. There's this blank spot right here, and then it's evolved into this. So again, I'm not top of mind for people. All you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
sure lots of people forgot that like we put all over Facebook that we're putting out a book. I'm sure they forgot about it, but there are people that have asked me about it or they've been told more than a couple times that this is happening. So like for me, it's just me. I'm not saying I should feel bad about it. I'm not saying I should feel like failure because of it. It's just a perception thing. That's important to me.
Yeah.
Good. Stops, full stop. That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like the the saying like not you teach people how to treat you sort of thing, but everything comes from you. So you decide, if you decide, you give yourself grace, like you decide it's an evolution, that's what people are gonna see.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's an evolution. I got in the kitchen, I started, we took a time, we took a break, we learned this, I learned this, Olivia learned this, and now it's this. Awesome. Great. It's coming July, blah, blah, blah. Like your energy around it being
Yeah,
like finish what
no,
you started, And
I get
so
it. Like, just
I'm
we
excited.
all have hangups, and it's like we all have things that are important, and it's like it's about being taken seriously. And like I don't even want to go into it because these are things I'm working out in therapy.
Yeah.
It's like this is not about like this is about what I know about me. So it's not about what's right. It's not about what other people are gonna think down the road. It's about what I'm feeling about the thing that happened in with Olivia and I, how I process that, and what I need to do to feel better about that in my own way without like with giving myself um some grace and not like being hard on myself and this and that, but like that is that is what motivates me. It motivates me is doing what I say I'm going to do, and
100%.
then when
Yeah.
it doesn't happen and it falls short, I feel like it's like okay, it can be said for anything, like oh I'm I don't know.
From my perspective, just so you know, from my perspective, you are doing it.
Yeah,
It's done. So
totally.
it's done.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
know from your perspective and from my perspective, there was nothing in the intention of doing that other book that was it didn't happen not because of me.
Well, yes. And I don't know that that's what you really wanted to do a whole thing just with her. Is
Kind of.
it?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
But there was always friction. You always communicated to me a friction in the involvement level.
Well, here's the thing. So like when we decided we were going to do this, there was an equal all in on it. As time went by and how like Olivia got more busy with the job, the ridiculous job that she had, and like then maybe thinking through like maybe this isn't something I want to do. Maybe we don't have the money for this. Like we went full speed ahead and then all the questions started happening.
Right.
And so to be honest, to be fair, like I wanted to do a salad board book with Olivia. It's a great idea. It's a great idea about our story. But where there was conflict was okay, Josh, this is more important to you and your food career. Like, cool, totally fair, Olivia. But we've waited 5 months to figure that out. Like, you've waited 5 months to figure that out while I've been like, okay, like, what's going on, and whatever. Like, like, I wish that was figured out a month in. But we
Well,
went down a road. We started a business. We did a lot of things, and there was that period of like, okay, like it took you this long to find that. I'm like, like why didn't you just tell me this? It's like getting led on, you know. But in all fairness, like Olivia does want to be involved in the section. She's happy to be involved in it. Yes, I totally understand Olivia's what happened,
okay.
but I was not in control of that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. There's that part of you that wanted what you have now,
Mhm. Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
like
totally.
you would not, and for my like you would not have what you have now had it not gone the way that it went.
True. Or you had to look at it too, like I would have had that and then been able to bounce from that to this.
And then establishing the larger life lesson and Josh giving Josh grace
Right.
to finish what he started. And the way that you can give yourself grace is by giving other people in your life what you.
Totally. Totally.
So you
That's
mentioned the hangups and like I like that everybody has a hang up, everybody, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna tie this into the clearing out your closet.
mhm.
Because taking that shit off the hanger, letting people off the hook, letting yourself off the hook, giving yourself grace, be like, you know what, I finished what I started. You know what, this project is evolving. You know what, thank you for the way things went. Being thankful for like now I have creative control. Now I get to invite a whole bunch of people. Now I can still feature your salad. You know what? You didn't really want to have the whole thing deep down. Whatever happened, happened. And now you get to create an even better, expansive thing for yourself.
Right.
You know, I don't I see it as a lovely obstacle that you are overcoming if you haven't already overcome it.
Right.
Taking that energy of grace into
No, I've totally overcome it. I guess I don't know where we started with it, but the point is that, you know, yeah, like I was all in on doing this last year. Like, I mean, I said I was going to do it. I wanted to do it. Didn't work out. It for like reasons I'm totally getting. Like totally it things happen for a reason, you know? And the reason probably was like, okay, maybe this is a way, maybe this book is to be the way I'm looking at it is, you know, maybe this book is really what I wanted to do. And maybe this book is more meaningful than a salad board book. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at it like that. Like things happen for a reason. And that's positive, you know? So, you know, that's what I have to look at. Not like, oh, it's a bummer we didn't get to do that book. So like here's an alternative. It's more like, okay, we didn't get to do that book. I saved resources, I saved time to put into this new project that's about me only, really, and my people, but it's more in line with what I probably wanted to accomplish.
and she
Right.
gets your feature and she's not
Yeah. And
50
she's totally cool with
not
that, you know?
50 with the project and
Totally.
yeah,
Totally,
it's like
totally. And she's
if
not
you
inundated and she's coming from a support role rather than something different.
yeah, and I think honestly, Josh, like there's something not every couple is built to own
Totally, dude.
operate a business together.
Totally, man. And that
Puts a lot
was
of stress. It puts a lot of stress on any couple.
totally,
So it's a gift. Like you can reframe it as a gift anytime. I believe it's a gift, just like you said. You know, everything happens for a reason. We wouldn't be talking about you wouldn't be talking, this wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for the past. So
right. And I mean, you know, like it was very difficult, like having to expect things and want things and then have to work with your partner, like your romantic partner, on like, you know, it's just awkward. And then we like started this business and then we broke up. And then it's like, you know, there's just too many things got tied in, you
yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
So I like it. It feels like a clearing to me, honestly,
I do,
Josh.
me too. Like
It
it's
feels, yeah.
feels great. And she's totally like, you know, this is great. There was no hard feelings. There was no, oh, you're doing a book without me. There was like, there's total just support, you know?
Good.
So, you know,
Sweet. All right, brother man. Well, I know we might
yeah.
have over, but I appreciate you sharing and it's important
Yeah,
that
for sure, man.
you
And I
feel
appreciate you getting Ben involved too.
yeah. So we've
You
got a
know, I think
timeline
that's
for
a big
him.
deal.
Yeah, we've got a timeline for him. We've got a timeline for your yes cutoff time. I'll send this in an email. I'm gonna update the timeline so you can see that again. And so we'll set a cutoff time for your doodle people. You'll do the doodle poll communication, and then the other people who are left, you'll just send a brief little, hey, if I could get your yes or your yay or nay by this time, that would be great. So then that's kind of everything's tied uh
Yeah.
tied up within the
And
next.
I do find a lot of validation and merit in what you're saying. It's like, you can't get hung up on the couple people that have like not said yes or no. It's like, I'm not gonna get hung up on that. I'm gonna focus on the yeses, and I'm gonna focus on thinking through the ones that I can write on my own,
Right.
you know?
Yep. Yep.
So
All right.
like, yeah, I sent a follow-up text to those two people. That's it. I'm not gonna worry about them anymore. That's that. Maybe, we'll revisit it, but that's okay with me. I feel good about it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens, dude. But I have too many other positive people that are super, and it's not negative. It's just like, whatever. I have too many people that are really interested in helping me out and helping and doing this. So like, let's focus on that,
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And then just, kind of carrying that energy of drive and grace, that balance.
Heard.
All right, brother man. Well, I'll send you a follow-up email and then we can talk about what feels good for you to meet up.
Okay, that sounds good, man. I was gonna, yeah, that sounds good, dude. We don't have to do Saturdays like we were trying to do them during the week, and it makes it easier for you and this. Like, I think that was nice that we could get a Saturdays do work pretty good for me, but
Okay.
like, let's just
I'm not opposed.
yeah, Saturdays are fun, man, because they're like that is my free day, and then we get it knocked out early, and I feel like it would be cool to have a repetition based on our goals. But I mean, okay, it's like you have a weekend too, brother,
Yeah.
right?
I wanted to tell you too, I've gotten clarity for myself for my second book and direction and
Good,
trajectory and
excellent.
way that I can involve and reward my current and former clients
Oh, nice.
as well with referrals. So I'll be
Hmm.
paying anybody on what I'm starting is individual coaching, but also group coaching. And the book is called Out of Any Closet: Every Man's Guide for Stepping Out of Fear and Living a Life He Loves.
That's great.
Because what I've noticed is I don't care about your orientation is, we all have these insecurities and fears and blah blah blah. So I'll be doing
Totally.
group and one-on-one. So, coming out of addiction, trauma, and codependency. Those are my three.
Yeah, dude, totally.
The fun things, but for me, it's all kind of rooted in fear and stuff. So I'll let you in on that too, of like, hey, here's my thing, and paying referral commissions. I love when people pay me referrals for their products. So I'm like, hey, this is a way for my clients to earn extra money
Yeah,
for
it's dope, man, for sure.
that. And then
Looking forward to that. I think that's a really cool title, and I like the way you tie in all of that. Like even in your first book, and coming up with the name is not something I'm worrying about now, but it'll have to
yeah,
happen.
it'll come. It'll come for sure. So
Yeah,
I also donate a percent of all any, packages probably for the month of January. I'm going to donate to some organizations out in LA,
dope. Yeah, that's cool.
stuff.
Fucked
And
up, man. It's like my home away from home. It sucks.
do what? What'd you say?
It's like my home away from home. It sucks.
Yeah, I thankfully everybody I know out there is, didn't have any
Me
didn't
too, kind of. I mean, dude,
say
look, they're gonna have a fucking fuck ton of problems. Maybe they didn't like, my buddy is in Vermont, in Venice or Mar Vista, but like, so Santa Monica was really kind of the cutoff on what was going on. That was about the south that went. So that's Mar Vista is below that, but like now, dude, like send me photos, like the smog, the fire, like the air quality is already bad. It's only going to be worse. Plus, there's houses that are burning that like are filled with asbestos. Like it's just
oh,
it's just a bad situation. Like
yeah.
bad situation. All right, home slice.
All right, brother. Well, I will send
Appreciate
you a
you.
message here in a little bit.
Sounds good, man. Sounds
Thanks for
good.
your time today.
Have a good day, buddy. Have a good weekend. Thank you.